episode is all about my favorite YA fantasy books. I am obsessed with The Witcher right now. I binge watched all 8 episodes, of course. I need to talk about it so much more. So if you guys have watched it on Netflix, that's where it's at, not sponsored, but Netflix, if you want to sponsor me, just let me know. If you have watched it, please go to my Instagram. Let me know what you thought. Henry Cavill did such a great job at Geralt. The writing is so good. The storyline is so good. It's so good. Anyway, so let's talk about my favorite types of books to read and what draws me into the types of books I read. First things first, I love books with a lot of action. I like really fast paced. Things just gotta keep moving constantly. Really slow books, like books that take, a whole chapter just to describe one part of the forest. It's just too slow for me and I lose interest because this girl, she got a slow attention span. I also love books with multiple points of view. That's really, really important. I don't want just like one character. I love to read about multiple different types of characters that I can relate to in different ways. And I feel like books with just only one point of view it limits all the dynamics that you can create in a book. So I love books with multiple points of view. I love books with multiple main characters and protagonists. And so those are the types of books I'm going to be recommending. I do love books that have a lot of romance and smut in it, but that's not a huge requirement for me. So the first book I'm going to recommend is The Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I love this book series. It's a duology, so it's this book, and the second book is called Crooked Kingdom. Six of Crows is set in a world based off of Amsterdam. It surrounds Kaz Brecker, who is the 17-year-old second in command of a gang. He gets approached to run a mission basically, and so he brings in several other people to kind of run that mission. He brings in all these different types of characters from all different backgrounds. There is some magic. It's not the main thing in this book. I love the main characters in this book. There's a lot of comedic stuff, but then there's also a lot of more adult type themes, and then it has funny jokes at the same time. So I love books that can be sarcastic, can be funny, and this one is one of those that's also dark at the same time. And to go with that, King of Scars. So Leigh Bardugo wrote this whole world called the Grishaverse. She has 3 other, a different trilogy that talks about these people called Grisha who have the ability to control different elements. King of Scars is a duology that follows that trilogy. I personally didn't love the original Shadow and Bone trilogy. However, you might want to read the Shadow and Bone series before you read King of Scars. I listened to it on audiobook because it's a slower book and you only get one perspective. I had to push through that one. But then it brings you to King of Scars, and I love this one. I love the main character Nikolai, who's really confident king. One of the characters, Nina from Six of Crows, is also in this book as well. And then the next from this duology is actually coming out in March, and I believe they're coming out with a Netflix series based off the Grishaverse. I don't know when that's going to be happening. Everyone keeps saying it's going to be at the end of the year, but Netflix has not released when it's coming out, and I'm dying and I need to know. Hopefully soon they'll be able to get us more information. So the second book series that I recommend reading, well, I guess this is the third. I don't know. I'm recommending a lot of books right now. An Ember in the Ashes. I love this series. It surrounds this girl whose name is Leia. Her parents were killed, so she lives with her grandma and grandpa and her brother. Then one day, the Masks, who are the military people, come in, kills her grandparents, and then takes her brother, and she runs away. It is intense, right off the bat. Then the second main character, second protagonist right now is Elias, who is one of the Masks at Black Cliff Academy, which is the academy that trains you up to be a mask in the military. Elias is struggling. He hates being a mask. He hates being a soldier. He wishes that he were living a life where he was making things better, and he's not right now. And so he is dealing with all of that. It is crazy. There are 3 books in the series right now. And then the 4th one is coming out. It's called A Sky Beyond the Storm? Yes, and that one's coming out in December. There's so much character development. It takes all these turns. It brings all these different types of worlds and magic into it. It is like a little bit dystopian. So if you like dystopian novels, this series is really good. Did say like I do like really funny, sarcastic stuff. This one, this doesn't have that so much, but there is so much movement. There's so much going on. There's all these different villains, all these mysterious people that play such a huge part in the plot and character development. It keeps me going like the whole time. Love, love, love this series. Ember in the Ashes. Read it. One of the first like fantasy books I ever like read and loved in like the series is the Percy Jackson series by Rick Riordan. Rick Riordan does a phenomenal job. I think it's urban fantasy. So he lives in New York City. One day he learns that he's actually a demigod, and Rick Riordan brings Greek mythology into today's world. I would say Percy Jackson is a younger read. Like all the other books that I just recommended are a little bit older reads, since some of the themes can be a little bit dark. But Percy Jackson is really fun. The first set of books, there's like 5 of them. It starts with Percy Jackson when he's 12. He's just funny, sarcastic, and just like a lot of fun. And they bring in a lot of different characters. Percy Jackson is a first-person book, but there is a spin-off series. There's like a lot of spin-off series. There's a spin-off series from Percy Jackson directly, which is the Heroes of Olympus series. So the first one is in the series is The Lost Hero, and that brings in Roman mythology, which I think is incredible, and you get a lot of different types of perspectives in this series, which I love. It brings in characters from the Percy Jackson series. You just get like a whole lot more. It's great. In addition to that, Rick Riordan does a phenomenal job at bringing in mythology from different cultures. Percy Jackson and the Heroes of Olympus are all about Greek and Roman gods. He has the Kane Chronicles, which starts with the Red Pyramid. It's all about Carter and Sadie Kane, Egyptian gods. He has another series that has Norse mythology, and then he like intertwines them and they all interact with each other, and it's so good and it's so great and I love it. I love the comedy, I love the sarcasm. They are a younger read than these other series because I did read these at a younger age, 17 and 18. I did read these at a younger age. They're still a lot of fun. I always recommend reading these books. The next books I recommend is right now I think gonna be a trilogy, and that's Aurora Rice. The first 2 books are out, Aurora Rising and Aurora Burning, and it's about this girl who was born like 2130 or something like that. She gets into a cryopod and wakes up nearly 200 years later. Oh, this is so good. And again, funny, sarcastic characters in this series. I love them. They're so funny. Aurora has like the funniest like phrases in this series. And then you got like hot characters. This one is a sci-fi fantasy novel, so it's based in space. It is a little different from like the stuff I was just talking about that has like mythology and fantasy and all that stuff. This one is more like science and technology. The last book series I have to recommend every single time is the Throne of Glass series. Sarah J. Maas is a goddess. I don't know where she came up with this character, but what is this? I think I had spiderwebs on it. It is about Selena Sardathian, who is an assassin. She's like the best assassin in the world. So basically the evil king needs a champion. His son decides that he's gonna pick Selena Sardathian. Selena, at this time, has been serving in the slave mines of Endovier, and the prince has chosen her to be his champion to compete to become the king's champion. This series is like a 7-book series, and there's so much that happens that I can't even talk about. I always recommend starting off with the prequel, which is what I did. It's called The Assassin's Blade. It's about Selena when she was 16. You do love her way more in the original series, but you do have to get through these. There is a lot that happens in this book, so it's super important to reading the last 4 books in the series. So if you do not start with the prequel, at least read this before you get to the Queen of Shadows. This is another series that I really love that I think isn't as popular as whatever, because I'm sure you've seen a lot of the other series. The Truthwitch series is such a good series by Susan Dennard. She actually is inspired by Avatar: The Last Airbender, my favorite TV show ever. It's in a world where people can like have magic, but it's like elemental magic. Sophia and Izult are strong, badass female witches. There are 3 books out right now. Truthwitch, Windwitch, Bloodwitch. Actually, there's a 4th that's Sightwitch. That's like a novella that happens in between the 2 and 3. I didn't like it that much, but I do like the main series. The 4th one is coming out. It's coming out in January. I don't know if that's the last one. If there's more, I'm all here for it. I'm really excited to see where it goes. I would say this one is a bit of a slower read, but it is just as fun. Okay, those are all the books that are my favorite. Thank you guys so much for stopping by at my channel today. If you guys have read any of these books already, comment below what you thought of them, if you liked them, if you didn't like them, if they aren't your favorite reads. Make sure to hit that subscribe and like button. Okay, see you later. Bye!